Hey everyone, my name is Mel Robertson, and I'd like to welcome you to Happiness is Your Own Damn Fault. And what we're talking about is how to drop the baggage, increase your frequency, and live a bliss-filled life. Now, I decided to put this summit together because I want you to know that happiness is equally available to every single one of us, no matter the circumstances that we've been through. So no matter what you've endured, you can choose happiness now. Happiness is your birthright. It is your natural state of being underneath all the baggage you've been dragging around with you for all these years. So what I wanted to do was interview people who are truly happy and get them to share with you their secrets on how they let go of the past, stopped worrying about the future, and started living their bliss. And today I'm really excited to welcome Meg Benedicte, and I chose her because she says, in truth, living every day should be an act of love and joy. Therefore, it is her goal to empower every person she can by helping them release old patterns and conditioning that keeps them from living a life of bliss. Meg Benedicte is a quantum healer specializing in Ascension Activations and owner of the Mount Shasta Quantum Healing Center, a holistic spa in Mount Shasta, California. In 1994, Meg experienced a profound awakening that activated her inherent template for utilizing the quantum vortex as a powerful tool for transformation. Meg helps clients to quickly shift consciousness, unlock karma, and remove energetic patterns so they can clear out-of-date systems that limit their human experience. For the past 20 years, Meg has been sharing these dramatic findings in her private healing practice and with international audiences in webinars, various speaking events, radio shows, blogs, and her book, Soul Realized, Unlocking the Sacred Keys of Becoming a Divine Human. And for more information, you can visit www.megbenedicte.com and www.mountShastaQuantumHealingCenter.com. What an honor it is to welcome you, Meg. Hi.
Oh, hi, Mel. Oh, it's such a great pleasure to be here with you and with your listeners, so thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited for this interview. You guys are in for a treat today. So before we get started, you want to just take a few minutes to share with our audience a little bit more about you and how you came to do the work that you're doing in the world today?
Sure. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and in 1994, in January 1994, there was the Northridge earthquake, and at the time I was living in Hermosa Beach, and it rippled out through the whole city. It was like a bucking bronco in my bed. I mean, it was happening, and thank God it happened in the middle of the night, or it would have been worse devastation. But what happened was it was like lightning bolts just ripping through my energy body, and had a spontaneous Kundalini activation. I was spasming and shaking for hours as all these downloads were coming in. And at the time, I wasn't really conscious of how much was changing, but a walk-in soul came in and started to take over the life, and that soul is my soul. And this was dramatically different for me. I immediately knew, just like the veils came off, I immediately knew about 2012 and that we were in an ascension plan, and within a week I wanted to start doing energy healing with no training. So this was a radically different soul personality that came in and had abilities that I had no idea about. And so it was startling and shocking, and it took me years to adjust to it. I did start doing energy healing, and in a way worked on myself first to get familiar with the technique and to practice it, and then eventually worked with some friends and then started offering it in 1998 to clients. And it has been my teacher, in a sense, this vortex. This has been showing me how the universe operates. It's the template of creation, and how to apply it in our own energetics and our own lives. And so what a journey for 20 years. It wasn't an easy transition. I had to slowly work the original soul out of the out of the life, out of the body, out of the mind. I'm still working on converting the DNA over now to my soul DNA. I have a little bit left of some of the original soul's ego that comes up every once in a while and is quite disturbing. But at most of the point, it's been a 20-year transition point into now really living in my own energy field, in my own Merkaba, and being able to live my soul life. And that was part of the move out of Los Angeles, which was her timeline, and moving up to Mount Shasta in 2012 to start, in a sense, my soul's timeline. So it was a radically different shift in realities, very extreme, but it worked. And now I'm definitely living my soul timeline and my soul blueprint, and it's been just wonderful up here in the sacred site of Mount Shasta.
So I understand, like, when you made this shift and you had the soul walk-in, that you had some pretty debilitating life patterns that you had to transform.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit for our audience?
Yes. So I came into a reptilian soul family, and if this is new to some of the listeners, this is part of the invader race that has done genetic reengineering with the human race since Atlantis. And so my soul chose to come into that lineage to bring light into it, begin to transform it and transcend it. And so I was doing it literally on my own genetics and consciousness. And so there was all kinds of debilitating fear and a lot of what I would call battle energy, very adversarial, competitive, aggressive. These are all characteristics of the reptilian race. And so I'm in a way we're coexisting for quite some time. Like it was actually quite challenging to have such diverse personalities in one body and mind. And but in a sense, what it did is it introduced me to the human condition and what's happening here, because I'm a visitor soul, so I haven't been here very often. The only time I come in is as a walk-in. So it gave me a lot of knowledge and visceral experience of what that shadow consciousness is here and how it's operating. So I went at it, with gangbusters and did everything I could with the Vortex and with the healing technique to clear that out as fast as I could and begin to bring in my own divine soul consciousness and truth and essence to replace it. So it's a challenging experience for walk-ins to come into such a very different personality and life plan, but it provided just an immeasurable amount of knowledge of what the challenges are here and how humans are struggling here. So it gave me that visceral experience to be able to know when I sit with a client, I know what they're talking about. I've been there. I can empath with them and have compassion for them because I've gone through it as well. So this technique gets in and it starts yanking out all of the energies from the planetary matrix, from the human family matrix, starts clearing out back to 6 generations of disease codes. It starts pulling out even the emotional pain and trauma that's stored and stuck in the cells. So it goes on every levels, every body of the unified field to clear it out for the soul to be able to come in and merge with the human self.
That sounds powerful. Now, you mentioned the term quantum vortex, and before we go too far, can you just talk a little bit about what that is for everybody so everybody's on the same page?
Okay, sure. So how this was introduced to me is using the sacred geometry of Metatron. It's called Metatron's cube. And this is the template of creation, so even our embryos start to form and create living atoms and cells in the same formation of Metatron's cube. And so I was being guided by my higher self to open up that sacred geometry at my feet, and it spirals up and creates a spinning vortex of white light that is spinning in a counterclockwise rotation. So it's actually spinning in the natural rhythm of our planet and our sun and our great central sun, all are spinning counterclockwise. This is why the sun rises in the east and settles in the west. And what is happening to all of us living on this planet is we've been spinning in a compressing gravitational clockwise movement that locks everything in. And so when you start to open up with a counterclockwise or anti-clockwise vortex around your energy field, around your body, everything starts to open up and expand outwards and release. So it liberates us from all that was locked in by the gravitational compression of time and the clockwise spin.
That feels so powerful. Like when you just talked about that, like it just totally opened up the energy in my body. And like I was just thinking about, like, you know, when you think about polarity and creation, and when we first come into clarity, you know, creation, we're really dense. And so when you said compressing, you know, dense energy, it was like, oh, yeah. And then the total opposite, the anti-clockwise, like reconnecting to source, opening everything back up, going back in the other direction. That just opened me up, just you saying
Yay!
that. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes, it's quite powerful, and I feel it is a gift from our universe, from our Mother, Father, Source, you know, right now that we are able to use this template. We're able to apply it to our own energy. We're able to get free of the lockdown. We're able to get the soul. So not only does it open outwards and release, but it spirals up, and it helps us bring the soul down the chakra pillar into the body. So I found we couldn't get the soul into the body as long as we were in that gravitational compression. Everything was so dense and solid and low vibration that the soul couldn't even get in. It was so polarized. It was literally pushing our souls into our aura. And this is why everyone's feeling a sense of disconnection and a lack of their core essence, and feeling fear and empty, because our divine life force, our soul presence, isn't able to come in and join us here in the body, in the heart.
And all those feelings feel very contracting and restrictive in their energy.
They are.
You're totally closed off. Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
And so then the root cause of disease would then be the separation from our highest self, our source, you think?
Yeah, so if you think about it, as we translate, well, what is our soul? Well, when our soul starts lower dimensions, it comes in as light, and it has its own tone or harmonics and its own light frequency. And it is like our nutrition. It's life force. It's our Kundalini life force. And so when we are able to feed that into our bodies every day, we're on deficit at that point. We're already going into aging and dying because we do not have that like manna, you know, that nutrition, that nutrients of our soul's life force, our soul's light. And then we begin to experience the decay of the body. And I have found as well that this has been perpetuated over centuries, and so it's getting passed down from family to generation in the family. So you can start to have what we see as these genetic predispositions for disease, and it's because there has been such an entire lineage of not having that life force, that light Kundalini in the body, that we are all like, we're kind of doomed from the set, you know, we're already coded now to get sick and to age and to die. So all of this, of course, can be changed. All of it can be reversed once you get into the anti-clockwise spin. Everything starts to unlock. You can pull out that disease code, and you can begin to bring in what I call the soul DNA or the soul codes and start to regenerate the health of the body. So yes, I think really the fact that we have been disconnected from the soul life force has put us into a deficit environment where we aren't able to maintain health and happiness.
Now, do you think that it's possible that once we're able to fully bring in all of our soul codes and not be in the clockwise compressing direction, but in the anti-clockwise opening direction, do you think it's possible for humans to stay in their body without disease as long as they choose to and live as long as they want to in a physical body?
Yes, what I have found is as we start to repattern and recode both the physical body and the energy body, because we're getting into both, then it creates a non-polarized environment that's actually quite neutral and peaceful and calm. And that's the natural condition of the soul. The soul is pretty much a quiet essence. It's not chattering about and making all these judgments. That's coming from the ego. The soul is actually a very kind of zen, beautiful essence. And so when we bring in the soul presence, you're able to stay in your body because it's so blissful. You're not wanting to get out of it, right? You're not wanting to split out because it's so awful. Now, I also found so that's the first thing. Once you get the soul in, you start to feel so yummy inside. You start to feel that warm love and inner peace. But I also found in the earlier years, there was no way in hell I was going to be able to bring my soul in and be happy on what we call the three-dimensional grid. That grid is polarized, it's corrupted, it is not equal for everyone as we're seeing as it plays out in the planetary field. And so I was talking to Metatron and the Archangels and the Avatars and saying, there's no way I'm going to make it here on this 3D grid. We've got to come up with something else. And so what has happened over the past 20 years is there has been a concerted effort, and there is the ascended Earth or the 5D Earth or the new Earth. You hear these terms. They all are the same. And once I was able, and it takes choice, you have to choose to unlock from the polarized 3D grid and start grounding your energy field and your body onto the 5D crystal grid. And this provides a new foundation and framework for you to be able to live in a non-polarized environment. And that's what shifted it for me, bringing the soul in and getting onto the 5D New Earth grid. And then I had a chance at happiness. I was able to finally get myself into that space of that neutral kind of still point of inner peace and bring the soul in and charge up your magnetic field and start living fully. And that those two pieces had to come together for me, and then it was, all right, we're on, let's go.
And I love that you talk about the neutral piece, because that's where the true freedom comes in, when you start to bring your soul in. Like throughout my life, we've all had our traumas and dramas in our lives and all the pain. But when I started bringing in my soul and doing the energy work on my body and working with Pleiadians and doing the work, that's what started to happen, is a sense of neutrality started to grow up within me and a lack of attachment to things. I wasn't clinging to anything here, and it was neutral. It wasn't good or it wasn't bad. It was always well. And that sense of neutrality and that not being swung either way is where you really get that sense of peace and calm inside you. So I love that you talked about that.
Yes, yes. And it's also just realizing that right now, the 3D and 4D grids, those Earths, those holographic Earths, are still in battle, and there still is the opposition between positive and negative, or light and shadow. It's still happening there. So as we start to ascend and increase our frequency higher and higher, we can access the 5D holographic Earth. It's in a higher frequency. That's where we have to get the heart open and healed and clear. The heart's the bridge up to the 5D. And I found then, it was so interesting, if I can describe how it looked to me, is this as if, this to me is where we're starting to access the quantum field, where positive particles and negative particles are all kind of just bouncing in this neutral sea together in coexistence. There's no more opposition. There's no more polarity. And so once you start to live in that field, the quantum field of all that is, and it's all in coexistence, it's harmonious, you begin to let go of the kind of the anxiousness, bracing for the next attack, right? You begin to relax. You can start to just let the energies flow, right? You're not all tight because you're waiting for the next opposition. So it's a very different field. It is a neutral field. It's a field of coexistence. It's what spiritual teachers call moving into unity consciousness. That's really what exists there in the 5D field.
And in that field, it's like, it doesn't mean that, like, you don't have experiences that, you know, are, that have, you know, pain or whatever, but it just means that you're neutral about it. You're not attached to it. Like, the things that would cause you suffering before don't cause you to suffer because your perspective has shifted and is way above their limited view of what that 3D experience was, because you see it from a 5D perspective instead.
Yes, and you're no longer then emotionally reacting from the ego, which exists in 3D. And I also found, too, that working on just basic quantum physics, when you raise an energy wave up to a higher energy wave, it transmutes the lower one. So anytime you do feel any kind of fear or pain in that neutral field, you know to immediately spin it up to the light, and it transmutes. And so that way then you're working as a transmuter of energies now. You're not allowing the lower energies of pain or fear to take you over. Like you said, you stay in that neutral state and you just start to transmute it with light.
I love that you said that. I really feel like that's part of what my job here is just to transmute that lower frequency vibrational and upshift it and be a part of that. So
yes,
I love that. Awesome. This is so exciting. Can you talk a little bit more for people that are just kind of hearing the term 5D Earth, what that is, what that means, just a little bit more?
Sure. So everything is energy, and it has a certain range of frequency. So that means it's actually spinning slow, like it's in the clockwise spin, it's dense, or it's spinning really high, and it's more of light. It's actually of such a high frequency, it's light. So what we have here on this planet are, I guess the best way to call it is parallel realities. And one is the very low 3D Earth reality. And these are holograms, so that means they actually coexist on this planet. And one is this 5D Earth, this 5D hologram that's in unity consciousness. It's a neutral field. They both exist here, and we can choose. We can choose where we want to live in. We can live in, and I watch people around me, and I can see, okay, that one's still in the 3D Earth. That one has moved up to the 5D Earth, because you can tell based on their vibration, based on how fast they're spinning, how fast their frequency is, and also how much light is running in them. You can tell, and so this means right now we're in a very interesting time on this planet. We're in a transition state of where they both exist. They coexist here. And
yeah, and I mean, it even, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought you were done. I'm so sorry.
It doesn't mean that you're going to literally get lifted off and go to a different Earth. They both are here, and they are different. Think of them more like morphic fields. One is a very low, dense morphic field where you're going to feel fear and depression and competition and pain, and one is a very high spinning morphic field where you're going to start to feel open and lighter, and your heart feels love, and you have a lot of creativity. So they really exist at the same time, and the only difference is their frequency. So if you keep increasing your frequency, then the higher Earth will be available and present and accessible to you.
And then also the higher your frequency is, the lower frequencies you don't even notice anymore. And you can see that like when you're interacting with somebody, like when you're driving through a neighborhood or something, and, you know, when you're a higher vibration, you don't notice the things of a lower vibration. Oh, this person didn't clean their yard, or they didn't weed, or oh, that looks trash. You know, you don't notice that things, but you can be with somebody who will be pointing out those things that you don't even see because you're at a different vibration.
Yes, and I experience this all the time with chemtrails. People bring up chemtrails, and I'm like, I don't see them. I don't deal with them. They're not in my reality. I'm not going there. And so and also too, you find that your paths won't cross with people who are in the lower Earth as much. This will get less and less. Because your own magnetism is just going to draw to you more heart-centered 5D individuals. And so everyone, the faces change, the realities and living situations change, because everything's now upgrading to the 5D Earth. So it's quite phenomenal that is happening right now, and it is available to everyone. And the quality of life gets so beautiful because that lower earth reality isn't kind of pressing in on you anymore. You don't have to deal with it like you used to.
Right. I mean, even for myself, there was a period in my life where, like, I got so wrapped up in, like, conspiracy theory stuff, and I was, like, so focused on it and so, you know, all about it. And, like, that's what I was bringing into my awareness, and that's what I was seeing. And then I was noticing the chemtrails, and I was on the email list and getting all this stuff. And then as I started shifting my vibration, all that stuff started to fall away, like, you know, like, I don't even notice that stuff. I don't put that stuff in my mind. I'm not even aware of what's going on in the world anymore because that's not the reality that I choose for myself anymore.
Yeah, no, that's a great example of it.
Yeah, I was just like, I was in such a low vibration, so focused and bringing that to myself and so obsessed with it, and then shifting my vibration, that all fell away. And I don't even pay attention to any of it anymore. It's not even in my field to pick up on.
And you really begin to magnetically pull in people who are living authentically and consciously, and then the people who are more into the drama, they just start to drop away as well. Like everything starts to kind of filter out.
It really does. And, you know, it gets a little sad for a minute because, you know, it gets a little narrow.
Yeah, you start to feel a little solitary. I know when I first started getting into the 5Ders, I'm looking around and I'm like, oh, my God, there's nobody here. What have you done?
Right?
I was like, okay, well, we need to get some more people in here.
I know we were talking before the call how, you know, people weren't interested in any of this 20 years ago. We couldn't talk about this 20 years ago.
No. It was a solitary journey for quite a long time. And thank God, by bringing the soul in, I had enough knowledge and awareness to keep pursuing it. If it was just leaving it up to my human self, there was no way I could have done it. But the perseverance and the determination of the soul power coming in was like, we're doing this. And so that's what propelled me through those lonely years of trying to shift into the higher earth. But now there's just so many beautiful souls in the 5D, so it's not lonely anymore.
No, it's much more full. Awesome. Well, this has been so amazing, and I want to talk about really quick before we close, because this summit is all about living your bliss and how to drop the baggage. And I just like to give every expert that I talk to an opportunity to share what living your bliss actually means to you personally and what that looks like for your life today, if you're open to sharing that.
Sure. It's been just a very gradual step-by-step process of piecing myself back together. As a walk-in, I came into a very fragmented soul, a fragmented mind, a broken heart. Like, there's a lot of damage there that I had to get in and heal. So this process helped me bring myself back into feeling whole again, even to the point of bringing in my divine feminine and my divine masculine from the oversoul, so that even I don't feel like there's something missing inside me. That wholeness, feeling complete, has brought such a sense of gratitude and contentment. I just find myself smiling and laughing and humming. I'm like, who is this person?
Right.
Like, what happened to Meg? Like, this is a beautiful personification of even the inner child that was fragmented and so wounded is coming back in and is happy again and enjoying life. So I find that not only are we bringing the soul in to just bring that heart alive with love, but we're also healing anywhere we've been fragmented or splintered off from trauma and wounding and really kind of piecing ourselves into wholeness. That wholeness, there's hard to find words to describe what that feels like, because it's such a profound experience and a feeling. So that would be my wish for everyone, is to come into that wholeness and be living from that joy of that wholeness every day.
And it is indescribable. There are no words to describe it.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. Now, I understand you have a really cool free gift that you're giving everybody participating in the summit. You want to take a minute to talk about it?
Yeah, so this is I think it's about 30 minutes. It's a meditation I put together that will walk you through the steps to get the sacred geometry vortex open, get the quantum vortex open, walking through the steps to then use it and apply it on your own energy field. So you're going to go into that anti-clockwise spin. You're going to start to open the field up and begin to clear what is any discordant energies or patterns. And also it's going to help you start to bring the soul down into the heart, into the body. And this is, I did this daily, and I've been doing it for 20 years. This is what I would call like a life tool. This will integrate with your energy field, this vortex, and it will help you. There'd be times when I wasn't even focusing on it, like let's say stuck in traffic in Los Angeles, and all of a sudden I'd feel it spin up, and it would move something out, and I'm like, oh wow, thank you. So it listens, it integrates, and it listens to your consciousness, and it starts to help you. And then also with the download of the meditation is a short ebook, and just giving us examples of how to increase your frequency, lifestyle changes, just things you can start to apply immediately to begin to increase your frequency so that you are moving into range to be able to live in the 5D earth and merge with the soul. So those are the two items that are in the free gift.
Excellent. I can't wait to listen to that and get my vortex spinning. Excellent. Awesome. Well, do you want to take a minute to just share any last parting words you might want to say before we close?
I think the word I would like to share with you is what got me through all these years of clearing myself, and it's perseverance. Don't give up. Keep pushing through the resistance, especially the ego resistance and the density in the cells. Keep pushing through it. You are the master of your energy field, and it's time for you to step in and kick butt and get that stuff out and open up to your divine soul presence and your true joy, your authentic joy. So I guess the word I would just want everyone to take in today is perseverance, determination. Keep pushing through because the rewards are unbelievable. So
yes,
I would love to leave you with that.
I love that, perseverance. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I just want to remind everyone, she said perseverance, and happiness, it is an inside job. It is equally available to every single one of us. And we're living in a time now where we can choose to drop whatever baggage we've been carrying around. We don't even need the old stories anymore. It just starts with a choice. You are powerful beyond measure, and all you need to do is tap into the divine power that created you and follow the guidance you're given. You were born to be happy, experience joy, and live an abundant, blissed out, and spacious life. I want to hear from you, so hit reply to this email and share your thoughts with me. Meg, it's been such an honor and a pleasure to have you on the summit with me. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Mel. Thanks for inviting me, and all the success with your summit.
Thank you.